Gilman, who's a house guest for a few days. She is here on the occasion of the annual meeting of the Presidential Council for Colonel Women, in which she's actually active in one of the committees. And she decided this year to come a few days extra and to take charge. She's on sabbatical leave. And so she has extra time, and she decided to interact with Cornell students more than on previous visits. She is an alum from Bolt Hall. She got a degree in Chinese in 1974 and has since then had a distinguished career as a international lawyer. So, and I asked her just to tell a little bit about herself, and then the way this works here at those house teas, you ask questions, you make remarks, you interrupt, whatever. It's completely informal. It's just like an intimate conversation, but we learn more about her.
Wonderful.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks everyone for coming. And
I'm sorry, and this is for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's marvelous. That's great. Thank you for having me and for coming to the tea today, and to my hosts who've arranged everything. I'm very, very grateful. My career really did start here at Cornell. I became interested in China before the end of the Cold War, just by 2 years. I began studying Chinese in what sounds to you like I know ancient history, but it's really not that long ago. You'll come to find that out. It's rather amazing. I began to study Chinese. I was drawn to anthropology, actually, in high school, and had a vision that I would become a Chinese anthropologist. And so I signed up for a double major of anthropology and Chinese. I realized into the first semester that I was not destined to be an anthropologist. And studying Chinese was so terrifying that the only reason I didn't drop it is I was very naive. We were more naive then. I didn't know you could drop it. So I signed myself up and went it on. We had very scary professors, not like today where you can sit next to them. And the only reason I didn't completely wither was this marvelous Ni-Tai-Tai Mrs. Ni, who got us through. And halfway through, Nixon went to China, and honestly, we didn't know at the time how well significant that was. We were in academia, there was no internet, so the president went to China, but we had no idea that was the beginning of an opening up. In those days, we were coming off of the Cold War, and I wanted to be in a government Asian Studies dual major, and things were still pretty hot between the United States and the Soviet Union. And I did a lot of reading and studying at the time about nuclear war and the possibility, unthinkable things. But the Chinese language and the Chinese studies stuck. And part of the way through, I thought that going to law school would be a good idea, a good way to further Chinese-American business and legal relations. There was only one problem. Chinese-American business and legal relations hadn't started yet, but I didn't know that. So I charged on and went to law school to study that. When I finished law school, I interviewed with a number of the big law firms, and to a firm, they said to me, that Chinese-American legal work, that's fascinating. We unfortunately don't do that. Go talk to this firm or that firm. And there were 2 American firms that had presences in Asia, Hong Kong. No American company, and no European either for that matter, had a law office in China yet. Okay, none. If you now Google law offices in China, there isn't a single firm that isn't in China. It's stunning what has happened over our lifetime in terms of opening up. I finally got permission to go to China in '79. I'd been a lawyer dispatched over to work at the firm's office in Taiwan and then in Hong Kong because they kept me in Greater China but couldn't yet go to China. And I went into China, and the fascination on both sides at that time, I cannot describe to you. Perfect strangers came up to us on the street. People knew already how valuable it was to learn English, so language is always the key. And if you stop to tie your shoe, or, I'm dating myself again, change the film in your camera, you would be almost immediately surrounded, first by one or two or three, and then, right? And then a whole circle of 50 people who want to, and despite all of the venomous publicity from the Cold War, there had always been and continues to be this tremendous bond between American people and Chinese people on an individual level, which I think exists between people on an individual level of all countries. Once you get out of the government noise and the journalistic noise and you get onto the street and begin to interact with other people, tremendous receptivity, warmth, welcoming, and I was hooked.